We are at Motorcycle Mall in Belleville, New Jersey, and today I'm on a Ducati Scrambler Cafe Racer. Now this bike from the outside is incredibly aesthetically pleasing. It's just got that super cool cafe racer look to it, and a Ducati, so what's not to love about it? Now I'm 5'7" and about 255 pounds, and this bike is flat-footed with no problem whatsoever. Now the immediate thing that I notice about this motorcycle is that it's pretty bare. Perfect of that for somebody who just likes riding. All about getting out on two wheels and getting some seat time in and enjoying a ride. This is what that motorcycle feels like right away. You notice you don't get any nice, or I wouldn't say not nice, but you don't get any fancy display with this gauge over here. You just get a mile per hour and a somewhat readable at first glance RPM gauge that goes to the left instead of conventionally to the right. So that might trip you up at first if it's going to be your first time riding the motorcycle. Another thing you'll notice is a unique sound. Stock exhaust. I'm pretty sure it's a stock exhaust. Just listen to that exhaust burble when I let off the throttle. That sounds so cool. It's an 803cc with 73 horsepower and 49 foot-pounds of torque. So it's not going to be a crazy beast. It's going to have enough power for your day-to-day interactions, maybe an occasional track day or something, even though this isn't really a track-oriented motorcycle. But I'm just going to give you more of how this bike feels to you if it's your first time ever getting on it. An immediate observation is this tank. Not these tanks, it's got one gas tank. It just pushes right into your thighs. I don't know if there's something here, I guess the lip of the tank here or something. It's not very comfortable to have your legs just being pushed in one spot. It's something that the Brutali 800 that I've ridden had a similar tank feel to it, where it would just kind of get you in a weird spot in the thighs. I mean, it's not a total deterrent from the motorcycle. I don't know if you can, I mean, not everybody's got the same legs or anything, so it could just be specific to me. I've got some quite meaty legs, if you will, so it could just be me. But I'm guessing maybe if your legs are sat up a little higher, if your legs are a little longer, like I said, I'm pretty short. Yeah, up here it's not bad at all. Down here, if your legs are short, it's noticeable. It's apparently noticeable, or immediately noticeable. All right, I don't think this has quick shift, which isn't a big deal at all. Like I said, it's a pretty bare bones motorcycle. Pretty much if you've ever ridden a more recent Ducati, you'll notice that the starter and the little controls on the left for the indicator, the horn, and the high beams are pretty much all exactly the same. They're in the exact same spot as like a Panigale, a Monster, and most of their other lineups, most of their other lineup that I've ridden before. There's no gear indicator on this thing, which isn't a problem really. But here we go. This is wide open throttle. I think that was third gear. So it takes a little while to get up to speed, but it's definitely highway capable. That's no problem. There is quite a lot of vibration through this motorcycle. Wind deflection, it's typical of a naked bike or a scrambler if you've ever been on one, or similar cafe racer style. Suspension's pretty soft. It absorbs bumps quite well. Yep. You'll notice too, it's not a power monster. I wouldn't really call it anemic. I mean, you're buying a Scrambler not to be at the racetrack. You're buying a Scrambler so you could do a little bit of light off-roading, maybe go down to the beach, get to where you want to go comfortably. It's a very light motorcycle. Alright, I'm full throttle, and the torque from it, it's there. So it's not crazy. it's just kind of there. I'll leave it at that. The horsepower, like I said before, is 73 horsepower, so it's nothing insane, but it's definitely nicer than if you were to have your typical 300cc motorcycle, or even some of like the Honda's 500. It's got more power than that. I believe it's got a little more power than a Ninja 650, or might be kind of floating in that area. So if you've ever ridden one of those, you're going to have very similar horsepower to that. Seat is incredibly comfortable. I will definitely give the seat an A+, because my tush is really nice and comfy at the moment. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, you know, you can just tell how light this motorcycle is. It feels kind of like my R3. You get blown around in the crosswinds a little bit. It's just not a big deal. You can easily counteract that. One thing I really love about this motorcycle is the mirrors. Although they look a little goofy, which I'm sure that's, you know, mirrors are easily changeable if you don't like them, but they provide some really great viewing. Like, I can see quite a lot with these mirrors. Yeah, doesn't handle terrible. Not meant for real track usage or anything, but it'll get you around a corner no problem. Yeah, I would say besides the looks, the selling point for this motorcycle for me would absolutely be that sound. And just characteristics of, you know, pretty much every Ducati I've ever ridden. It sounds really great. Yeah, well, it's got nice power there. And you know, that's another thing with these things. It's got just the right amount of horsepower where you can really wind this thing out. You'll know you're accelerating. It definitely feels like it, make no mistake about that. But you can hit the rev limiter and you're not, you know, you're not committing a felony. Oh, hey. The brakes could use a little bit more to them. They're good, but they're not like a sport bike, which I guess you don't really need because it's not that heavy of a machine. They leave just a little bit left to be desired, but you'll stop just fine with them. And even with an aftermarket exhaust, these things really sound something fierce. The grips I would change, just because the handlebars are a little thin, and they've got these grooves on the back here, which I'm sure maybe assist grip or something, but after a while it kind of digs into your skin. If you're, well, not really digs in, but it's a little awkward, a little uncomfortable there. It's no big deal. Grips are cheap enough and easy enough to do. But the seat, man, I want the seat for my bike. It's really nice, and it's got about a typical riding position of like an R3, if you were going to compare that to one. If you're looking at something kind of like that, or you want something like this, this would be an absolutely excellent beginner bike, because there is room to grow. I mean, there's room for you to grow with this bike and not get terribly bored. I could imagine if you're a first-time rider, this would be very confidence-inspiring, or confidence-inducing. I can't grammar today. Just because of how light it is, handles great, and it doesn't have crazy horsepower that feels like it's trying to kill you the second that you just touch the throttle. Typically, Ducati's gearboxes are super smooth. I've noticed that maybe they've cheaped out a little bit with this particular gearbox, because it's a little clunky and it doesn't have the quick shift. But again, this is more of a just people who want to get on two wheels and ride type of motorcycle. Now I'm in fourth gear, doing just about 2,500 RPMs, or just around about 3,000 RPMs. And the engine's not like really wanting me to downshift right now, and like give it a little bit of gas, I'm sure. Yeah, you can manage it. Clutch engagement's very smooth. It's a cable clutch, unlike some of Ducati's other motorcycles which use a hydraulic clutch. But yeah, there's like not much pressure required to pull the clutch. Nice and comfortable, easy to do. On the left side of this motor, I'm feeling some crazy heat from that head there. That's quite hot. It's a little bit characteristic of Ducati, they're known for that. But on the exhaust side, I can rest my legs on the heat shield all day. I've got no problem. Over here, hot. Gotta love the sound of a Ducati. Even this is a smaller motor with a little less power than your sports bike Ducatis. It's still sounds just as good.